I'd like to apologise a little for the dearth of videos today, and the reason is because I've been tied up with telephoning the passport office to get a particular document, and it's an obscure document. I applied for it over a month ago and I've heard nothing. And the problem with the passport office is, I presume it's privatised, and you can't get through to the Home Office at all. In fact, if you go through the Home Office telephone number, which they're quite happy to give you, and that sends you back to this passport organisation. And to say it's useless is to be heartless, really. They work very hard, they do their best, and eventually, after 12 calls, I got through to a fellow called Yusuf, who not only gave me the correct title of the form that I had filled out, but also gave me an email address for the particular part of hmpo.gov.uk, and I've just got back an email response confirming my email to them after a month. And you think there is a point where you want to scream about the inadequacy of our systems. The fact that nobody, and the number of people who put the phone down when they say, I'm going to try and find out what this document is, and then the phone suddenly goes dead. And this isn't something that takes 10 minutes. You have to dedicate about 3 to 4 hours and a lot of frustration. And the last time I think I encountered this level of frustration and obfuscation was when I was trying to register as self-employed and lived in Greece, and that was at the end of the 1990s. And in the end, I'm afraid, I burst into tears in a police station. And suddenly everything happened, and suddenly I was given all the paperwork I was trying to get hold of. Someone explained to me that no Greek would actually go through this process. They would pay the money and get someone to help them. And I thought, well, yeah, but I don't know that. The problem here in the UK is there's not even anyone to pay. Bakshish, or in Greece there's a rather wonderful expression, the fakilaki, which is a white envelope stuffed with banknotes. You just have to know how many banknotes are going to get the correct result, how many banknotes are efficacious. Too many banknotes are a little bit overdone. But I didn't know this. I was a foreigner. And increasingly I feel like a foreigner in Britain, facing this level of bureaucratic belligerence. And I was speaking to somebody this morning who's worked in some of these offices, and he was saying, oh, he wasn't allowed to say this. He wasn't allowed to help. He wasn't allowed to check postcodes for the people who are ringing up for support. And in fact, he was telling me he probably lost his job because he was trying to help too much. Well, what's the point of a support service if it's not actually helpful? What is that point? It's simply it's simply snide and unpleasant. It's a nasty experience, and there is no alternative. In order to fill out these forms, you need to know what the answers should be, because the questions are written in a code that, unless you are part of the system, you cannot possibly understand. I can remember various people coming to me and talking to me about the PIP forms, and I looked at them and I was flabbergasted by how complex and how impossible they were to fill out unless you were actually in the system. This is not how bureaucracy is supposed to be run. Bureaucracy is there to support people, to support business, to make it easier. because you have a document in triplicate. Instead, bureaucracy has literally become control by the desk. Control by the desk. And so bureaucracy belongs to that group of words: aristocracy, controlled by the best; democracy, controlled by the people, or as Plato would have it, controlled by the mob; and bureaucracy, which is a bastard word, of course, coming from Greek mixed with French. Bureau is a desk. So what is that? That's controlled by a piece of wood. It's controlled by an inanimate object. And I think that puts it rather firmly in its place. Bureaucracy, when it works, is a wonder. It's one of the great inventions or the great developments of the East India Company. But when it gets out of control, and when it becomes a power play of its own, the computer says no. It needs to be stopped and called out.
The final PMQ